A very warm good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Department of Textile Design, NIFT Mumbai, I, Kisle Chaudhary, welcome you all to this webinar on emerging landscape of printed textile industry. We buy with our eyes. That's a core statement for any product category selling online or offline today. As per the research in the visual field, print seems to be one of the most promising and popular category for online commercial application as it's easier and direct for human visual perception. The most complex design in printed textiles are simple to connect by consumers due to the visual directive medium. Augmentation of inkjet digital printing has its own impact on the designing, manufacturing, and distribution of printed textiles for home and fashion both. Short runs, customization, personalization opportunities, and many more opportunities have been a compelling factor for designers, manufacturers, and entrepreneurs to think in novel ways for exploring new markets, product line, and services too. This webinar is going to be a discussion on the emerging landscape and influences with our experts today from industry, in business, technology, product design, and innovation. Today we have four glorious speakers and key influencers who are absolutely iconic. The work created by them and endorsement of technology makes them a leading light in their field. They are the key inspiration behind the endorsement of modern digital technology and innovation in India, primarily for the textiles industry. Let's welcome Mr. Ajay Arora, Managing Director of T-Decor, Mr. Ashok Paul, Managing Director of Marvel Decor Limited, and the technologist behind introduction of techniques and technology in digital printing on textiles in India, Mr. Vinod Krishnamurthy Iyer. Our speakers are the key influencers of endorsement and commercialization of technology in India, and they have also propelled the wheel of innovation for textiles. I'm so delighted to be a part of the thought process exchange that's going to happen today. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our first guest speaker today, Mr. Ajay Arora, the Managing Director of D-Decor. Mr. Ajay Arora is the Managing Director of D-Decor, and he has been in the textile business since 1991. He has been instrumental in the company's growth into an international brand. Ajay Arora is alumnus of the Honor Presidential Program at Harvard Business School and has studied textile engineering at VGTI Mumbai. D-Decor currently is the world's largest manufacturer of curtains and upholstery fabrics, serving more than 65 countries with 5 manufacturing facilities, 1 distribution company, and various international potential channel partners. D-Decor is iconic for its original design values and lifestyle statement for luxury and sophistication. So I would like to welcome Mr. Ajay to share his iconic journey with us. And also, please let us know what's your vision for finding the true potential of the technology, especially digital printing technology in India in terms of textiles. And we would also like to know what are the consumer expectations and awareness levels when it comes to this textile category.
Thank
so
you.
Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'll try to summarize my textile journey in a few sentences and try to give some emphasis on where digital printing entered. So as you mentioned, I finished my textile education and joined a family textile business, which was mainly into apparel fabrics. And being a student of technology and having the family textile background, I was always very keen on machinery. And the textile machinery exhibition, which happens the ITME once every 4 years, was always something that I wanted to visit. So I was indulged once I was nearing graduation to visit the ITMA exhibition in Europe. And I saw the introduction of the electronic jacquard. And I was very enthused by the fact that the electronic jacquard could spin out so many designs without having any manual intervention, really. And I was, fortunate that I got an opportunity to install a jacquard project within the ladies' wear business, but no permission or budget to install electronic jacquards. They were pretty new in 91. The fashion business that I was doing in jacquard was very, very successful for the first 5 years. It had a lot of silk imitation in polyester. So upper middle class or middle class women in India who cannot afford a silk sari and cannot afford a pure silk outfit would normally be my target customers. And jacquard was in good fashion, and I saw the business do extremely well. In 1995, the business crashed, the fashion turned, and I was asked to shut down the entire manufacturing section of jacquard weaving. I was, I would say, committed to my 100-member team, and hence decided that rather than shutting down, it would be better to find some new product to produce on the same machines. And that's through that compulsion, I entered home furnishing. We had started weaving curtains, and in having gone through that entire boom bust cycle, I did not want to stand on one leg again ever. So I decided that we would like to have an international and a domestic business. And I visited the Heim Textile, which is the largest exhibition in home textiles, in 1995, and decided that I would like to enter the home textile field with proper hardware, and got the family approval to buy 4 second-hand electronic jacquards. And from there has been the start of the journey about 1996. About in 2010, after having built a capability to produce home textiles in India, which is equivalent to European quality, we started with the brand D-Decor. So it started with the journey of speaking to the Indian consumer and informing the Indian consumer of our capabilities and getting the product distributed in India. So brand D-Decor was born in 2010. And around 2014, I think the brand had got a significant amount of success in curtain and upholstery, both of which were core products. And I was, keen that we, enter the bedding business, but we had no printing technology at all. And in that period of time, I think digital printing was just getting stronger as an emerging technology, just like jacquard was in the early days. So I connected some dots in my own journey and said that we would like to evolve into bedding from using the strengths of digital printing. And that's been our, I would say so far, the foray into digital printing. And it's been pretty successful that we've been able to do something differentiated in the bedding business. And that's how I think I've landed up on this webinar. Sorry, you're on mute, Isla. Sorry.
So does consumer really differentiates between the printing styles?
So no, the consumer probably, other than the textile world, nobody cares how you print something,
Okay.
So the consumer won't differentiate between anything. And you need to give the consumer a solution for his needs or excite his sensories rather
Okay.
than I expect him to worry about how you're doing it.
Okay, that was a very interesting fact to know. Thank you so much. I would now introduce our second speaker today, Mr. Ashok Pao. He's the managing director of Marvel Decor Limited. As we all know that in India, the window dressing is really picking up, and a new dimension has been created in window dressing segment by understanding of blinds, draperies, and not limited to that, but even much more than that. So, Mr. Ashok, he is the founder and managing director at Marvel Decor Limited, and he has been the visionary mind that has taken Marvel to soaring heights. He has been instrumental in creating innumerable milestones in the window covering industry. Under his guidance, today Marvel is a leader in window covering industry. Started As a SSI today, Marvel has two huge factories in Jamnagar, Gujarat, a sales office in Mumbai. The company started at a very small scale and has grown to be the number one company in India as the leading window covering industry. So Marvel has adapted highly synchronized systems to encompass the entire flow of systems for great successful implementation and a great role of technology, of course, that we are speaking about today. So I would request Mr. Ashok to let us know a little about himself, his journey, and also little bit about the consumers. That what are consumer preferences when it comes to blinds and curtains, solid versus printed design. So a little bit of light on this topic, and also a little bit about himself. So over to you.
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to thanks NIFT Mumbai that giving us this opportunity to speak to this platform.
Thank you.
I'll start with my journey and my company as well. So I was a laborer, and I was getting 8 rupees per day when age of 9 years. So 4 or 5 years I work as a laborer in some small factory, and then took break and go for the study. And then second year of my commerce graduation, I thought now I have to decide what I have to do in my life. So there was two uh, preference I have, that I either I will become a professor or then otherwise industrialist. I like to become a professor because I was very much connected with the ABVP, and so that was also my choice. And then second was industrialist, and finally within 3-4 days of brainstorming, I decided to become an industrialist. So that time 12,500 was with us in our bank. Actually, my father passed away when my age was 14 years old. And so when government give us compensation for my father's death, so that 12,500 was with me. And I took 10,000 from that and started the brass parts supply, because we don't have any money, so we can't do any manufacturing or things like that. Then someone came to me to make the brass components for Venetian blind. So I make that components for them, and then gradually make one code lock and Venetian blinds kit, and I was selling to the blinds manufacturer. So that was started with a small thing. Then we came into curtain rods and then blinds. So that was our journey, how we came into blinds. When we came into blinds, there was a very much limitations in the blinds in the comparative with the number of blinds and the sets. And I thought that worldwide the blinds is more than 55 or 65% in home, and in India it was less than 1%. So I find that opportunity and do this gap analysis and jump into blind segment in depth. So I was firmly believe that whatever comes into worldwide, it has to come into India as well, step by step. So that we crossed that limitations, and right now we have 16 types of blinds, which is world largest range of the blinds, I would say, and more than 2,000 fabrics sets we have in the blinds. So, and in India, we have 350 galleries in 237 cities across the India. Then second journey started before 6 years. I was thinking that why there's not a single company in worldwide with the blinds segment with their own brand. So I thought that there has to be some Indian company in the worldwide, because I was very connected with the ABVP and RSS and all, and so my upbringing is with the patriotic and country kind of things. So always those kind of thoughts and those kind of things I would like to do. So then we decided that let's go to international. And I roam around the world for 6 months and then see that what's going on, what are the people doing, how they're doing, what kind of products they are. And then we started developing those kind of blinds. Then it took almost 1.5 years to develop those products, which has to be international standard. And I would say with the glad that first unit, international unit, we have established in Dubai before 1.5 years. So it's a proper assembly unit with a 50 people team. And just in this month, we have launched our product in UK as well. So, and next year we are planning to go to US, Canada. So we are on a mission mode to international, go to international. And my team is have make a big mission that we want to reach 100 countries in 2025. So we are on this mission mode, and I like those kind of challenges, and I'm enjoying actually. So this is my journey about, and it's going on. So second journey started, you can say before 3-4 years again. For digital printing, I would like to say that in 21st century, choice of customers has been changing so dynamically. They want freshness and newness. So when we say newness, then it's innovation and change as per the trend. And when we say the freshness, it means the look and feel. So if we go with the woman, it will take time maybe. But with the digital printing, very quickly you can give the designs what you want, and in the even lower cost, and then other customized things. So this exclusivity, pleasant and cost effective, they are the most important thing which digital printing can give. To achieve this parameter, I think digital printing play a big role. With digital printing, I can say that if someone will think today, make design tomorrow, and they can match with the curtain, blinds, or the cushion or bed sheet, within 8 days, they can do these things. So yeah, definitely, this is a very good technology. Yeah, definitely they have their own limitations, but I would say that the students of NIFT should look this opportunity, and they can make the design, and they can put all the things in the anyone home or offices very quickly. So that was from my side. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Your passion is so inspiring for all of us. I mean, you spoke with really a lot of passion, and you said 100 countries you're going to cover in next 5 years, and there are only 195 countries in the world right now. So which means that India is going really global, truly global. And also the data that you shared, that blind industry was only 1%. It's amazing because we can still see that there is so much potential in so many sectors in India. And one of the reason I really associate with the draperies and blinds, because I believe as a designer, and you can please let me know, that most of the blinds are customized.
Yeah.
Or are they, like, what is the preference? Is it a customizable, sure, is more working for the industry, or a pre-manufactured?
Yeah. We do only customized blinds because in India there is a window size is a different color choice and all. So, but that ecosystem you have to set with the measurement to manufacture and to logistic. So those systems we have set so nicely, I can say. So we are into customize, yeah.
Oh, Great. Thank you so much for the information. I will move on to our to introducing our next speaker today, Mr. Vinod Krishnamurthy Iyer. He is the CEO and co-founder of Fortuna Colors and Prints LLP. Um, he is also the managing director of the same company. He started his journey with digital printing textile business in 1998, and since then there is no turnaround. During his stint of 2 decades with printing business, he has mastered the diverse knowledge in various verticals of textile printing and related processes. With a history of introducing digital textile printing in India, took the vital role to understand various disciplines by 2000 for this technology. Fortuna Colors and Prints LLP has been tagged with various honors and awards. In 2014, Fortuna Colors and Prints LLP was born to carry forward its goal of innovation solutions based on advanced technology in the world of wide format digital printing. And also, I know Mr. Vinod Krishnamurthy for one of the prime reasons that he really understands the technology well, not only on printing on textiles, but he can literally print it on any material, metal, glass, or any other surface. I mean, he just masters the technology very well. So, with this introduction, I would like to request him to please let us know a little bit about his journey, how this entire technology came to India, and what is the response, how he has seen the growth of this technology, and what kind of work does he do today, and how he differentiates that work with what was happening in the past. So, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kislia. Thank you to NIFT. And it's a great opportunity for me to share some experiences. And I'm sure a lot of students are listening, so it helps them.
Yeah. Thank you.
So my journey started in 99, to be precise. I was a biology topper student who went on to become an entrepreneur because my zeal for entrepreneurship was much more. And I started a company called Texaco, textile software company. And primarily, we started with two products. We were the first company to launch open architecture for pattern making with Scanvac Israel. And we started with textile software. And when we started this business, there is a very interesting incident where I discovered digital printing. I was with my partner, Mr. Vinod Garg, who was my partner, promoter, like a father figure, who invested in a youngster and said, we must make a company, you have the spark. And he was sitting with the owner of Tom Taylor, Uwe Schroeder, and they both were debating on bitlooms. And when this argument was happening, I was sitting, I was 21, I kept watching, and I simply moved out of the room, excused myself, went to my desk. I had an HP 1120C printer. And what was amazing was that was the first and last printer HP ever made where the paper would go straight. It would not go, there wouldn't be a tick-up system. And I took poplin fabric, I put it on a sticker paper, I made the CADs on Copperman, I printed the bitlooms on poplin, peeled them off, came to the meeting room, put it in front of both of them. Both of them awed, and both of them were looking at me, and the meeting was conducted, orders were placed, Uvi had gone. And my partner, Mr. Vinod, to be honest, I acknowledge him. He had the vision, he had the experience. He told me, Vinod, just hold this. You have no idea what this is. This is future. This will change the world of printing. So I till date acknowledge him, Mr. Vinod Kumar Garg, Graffiti Export. He's an amazing person, true entrepreneur. And from there we started. At that time, there were only two companies in the world, Sophis and Stork, doing digital printing. And SIBA was trying to make an ink. And that's when I entered, and I still remember my first meeting with them and starting the business. So we have seen, for me, it has been a pleasure to see the transition from 1 meter, 10 meter, 25 meter, 45 meter, 100 meter, 200 today to single pass where 40, 50 meters a minute can be done. I started with the inks at 30,000 rupees a liter. And today we're talking about 1,200 rupee liter. So I have seen the real graph of how this technology has transited, over the years. I've had the pleasure to work with over a dozen companies. Almost, I was like a television seller. You want a Sony, Panasonic, LG, you have to come to me. For 11 years, that was the case. 2008, we conceptualized the concept of IPL. We went to Adidas, Reebok, All the team kits, 6 team kits were designed in our studio. For 2 years, we were printing while manufacturing was done. During this period, also, we realized that when we tried to sell 2000 rupee meter fabric, people said, "You're foolish, you'll change the world." So we had no choice but to work with all the designers. So for almost a decade, I would proudly say that all the designers in India, most of them worked with us. Tarun being one of the best. Tarun Tilani is amazing. He understood, and we printed a lot of designs, and that's how the actual fashion was able to see what the value of digital printing is. Then over this period, we launched a lot of products, a lot of companies. In 2009, I had the privilege to do a joint venture with a global company. And then I think somewhere in 2014, I decided to move on. And for me, the purpose was very clear that, digital has tremendous potential. I don't look at it just as a value add. There's a lot more that can be done. So Fortuna was born. The idea of Fortuna was that we will diversify a little. We will look at turnkey projects and consulting. And here the terminology for digital changed. Now I would never call this digital printing. I would actually call it industrial inkjet, because I believe it is industrial. You got to look at it from that perspective. Only then you'll understand it. Otherwise, it looks like a photocopy machine. People think that's not true. And we have a consulting division. We set up, we started doing plants for people, a turnkey plant A to Z, where we could handhold and support them from pre-coating, printing, steaming, washing, finishing, SOPs, manpower, all the processes. And that we still do. We've done 4 plants already in the country. And one of them is waterless plant, state of the art. And then we started working. I got the privilege to work with a company called Movent, a Bobst Group company, 130-year-old company. And they understood the vision, and I wanted to contribute as a technologist into a company who would understand that, and will make something that I can be proud of rather than just being a dealer or distributor. So I say Movent did a fantastic job. The technology they've built, we've proved it in the market. We're slowly building it up, and I see a great potential for the product. And parallelly, my family diversified a little into manufacturing, because they said, "You have so much knowledge," like you rightly said. We have printed leather with automotive approved capability. We've done that. So, the innovation part was never stopping. So we said, okay, let's step aside and look at some of the manufacturing. But overall, in 2 decades, it's amazing, and I also credit my partner tremendously, because what he said, hold on to this will be something you can't imagine. I heard those words that day. And when I see that in 20 years, I cannot even tell you how it is. It's an amazing journey. And I think a lot of students can understand that you look at a possibility, and when you work on it, you actually reach a goal or a point, if you know what you're doing. And there's one point I'll share, very important in the journey, that I never diluted my focus from digital printing. Why? Because there was a lot of times when people said, sell embroidery, you can make more money. Why don't you do this? I was very clear that for me, the industrial inkjet is a vast subject. Today I look at inkjet printing with technical textile. There is so many applications. We're talking about jettable chemicals. We're talking about jettable coatings. So the idea is, how do we go to the next level? And making this tool, like I say, it's not a value add, it's a tool. How do we take it to the next level? And that's the journey I'm continuing to take forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I do believe that with what you said, this technology has become a part of the DNA of textile industry. Yeah, and and we all can see so much potential as you have shared the upgradation of technology and the new finishing that are coming with the technology and the material exploration possibilities, of course. So that's something really interesting to know. Thank you so much for shedding light on all these factors for us. So now I would go back to our first speaker, expert, Mr. Ajay Arora. And I would like to ask him a question about that how online is going to change our lives, and especially in context with this technology, for generating multiple access points to the printed textiles, products, and what would be the key influences according to him, which will lead way for new concepts like mass customization and personalization opportunities in India, especially for the retail business.
So, Kisleya, I think the question you've asked me is very broad. I'll try my best to uh, give some aspects of this whole digital shift, especially post the coronavirus story. Digital seems to be, becoming a very big, I would say, force that can help improve many experiences and many processes. But especially with respect to the textile industry, the biggest challenges that textile has had are structural in nature. The manufacturers are very far away from the final consumers, and digital provides a bridge to shorten that distance. And unlike what many people may uh, think, that removing the middleman is the biggest benefit of digital, but it actually just changes the way information is exchanged. I think that is the biggest change. Uh, all of the students at NIFT, all of the consumers of textiles are excited by new design. As much as new design and new products are opportunities, they are problems. They are either good problems, that you don't have enough inventory or you're not responding fast enough, or they're bad problems, that you have inventory and it's not selling. And if you can actually have a digital way to exchange information between what the customer is wanting to buy or what he's buying a lot of, and then having a response which kind of says that you have a just in time or a fast and flexible or an appropriate and accurate refill of inventory, that is really the biggest shift happening. There are various ways to position yourself in this whole shift. One way is that you can go after personalization. I mean, it's quite possible that somebody would like to gift someone something very personalized and individual. And some years back we studied an entire model where you can upload a picture and I can print it for you, and it is n equal to 1, where basically you customize or personalize for one individual. And you will often find that that's a profitable model. There are people who are willing to pay to have something special, something very appropriate to them or their liking, their needs, their ambience, their fashion statement. But on the other hand, you can consider personalization in a slightly broader context, where consumers can be divided into groups, into segments, and you can personalize your products or your marketing towards these groups of people. So children's bedding is an example where we actually use digital printing extensively to print Disney characters and to be able to bring some excitement as different Disney movies came through. Different characters were in demand, and you can never guess what's going to be the quantum of demand. But yet, you needed that character to be printed in its full originality. Now, if you are able to gauge demand and if you're able to create awareness of availability of possibilities, the online channel definitely allows that. In the physical channel, even if you go and offer something, it gets lost and it is difficult for somebody to find it for you, or the consumer to actually know where to go to find it. On online, the very simple aspect of search in textile context, in a context of thousands of SKUs, lots of designs, sizes, colors, characters, themes, changes. The search function really helps the consumer find what he wants. But the last piece, and I'm sorry about the long answer, but I think you asked me a very broad question. So I'd like to say that the industrial way of being able to carry out, execution of personalization or a digital offering without having any inventory in between is also something which is getting exploited by people who are building an integrated information exchange, a software and a machinery, which can say that, a consumer ordered a design and you are printing that design, and then you are cutting it, packing it, and shipping it, and then you move on to the next order. So all these orders are sequenced and executed, in very small batches, but at very high speed, and hence creating a very high value of output and very profitable business, which can be very distinctive as well, and yet can create a consumer experience of great service. All of these possibilities exist. So digital and the online is just expanding. And the last part of digital is you can actually literally sell textiles without physical. So digital printing is very much delivering the promise of what you see is what you get. And just to give a very, very different example of digital printing is to use it in lieu of dyed fabrics. So if you wanted to have 600 colors on offer in a bed sheet to match with the paint shade card of Asian Paints or Nerolac, you could do that without having any inventory if you're digitally printing the bed sheets. And is there someone who will ascribe value to that? Yes, there are enough people who are sensitive to color. Color sells fabric, and who will do that. So print does not have to be only about, lots of designs and colors. It can also be just about one color, and customizing the color is also, personalization.
Yeah.
So I think that covers what I hope you've wanting to know about the online shift or the digital shift of, this industry.
Yes, thank you very, very much. That was really elaborate, and it absolutely covered all the points. When you spoke about that, how customization is not only about many colors, but also about the specification and the desire of a certain consumer, what really they want. It's all in the details, and that detail can be captured and delivered by the digital printing technology. So that's absolutely a great insight on the topic that we discussed just now. Thank you so much. I would like to ask another question related to innovation to Mr. Ashok. And recently, we have come across so much innovation in terms of product and human preferences, like our lifestyle. So we see that outdoor there is a lot of pollution, and pollution is indoor also. So my question to Mr. Ashok is that IKEA recently launched gunrid curtain that purifies the indoor air. So looking at such innovation, what does he thinks that how uh, we can offer, our community of designers can offer, is solutions to solve the critical issues through product design, whether it's a window dressing or a blind or a product which is so prominent and is a part of almost every room in our houses or in our offices or our living spaces. So over to Mr. Ashok.
Yeah, sure. First of all, the blinds. We are into blinds. That's why I can talk more about the blinds. Why blinds 50 to 60 to 70% in a home worldwide in the developed country? So the reason behind it, that is one is the sun control. The blinds has a capacity to control the sun, like how you can change the fan speed, or you can say how you can control the room temperature. So blinds that is most important. That's why 60 to 70% people worldwide using blinds at home. So and there's a very good research people has done that inside your room, either home or office, if you change the sunlight, then the freshness of the room, freshness in your mind, and overall thought process also can be changed. So the privacy, and then also privacy is the most important, then luxury, and match with the interior, your interior. So when the people is regarding innovation, so these four factors is very important to look into it. And I'm sure that if you give types of blinds what we have available in our range, then they fulfill different places. Regarding the IKEA, what you said of the fabric they who make which purify air. I've not checked technically, but I can say if maybe Ajayji knows more about it, or if he don't know, then he can also develop, because if it is possible, then it's good for the society. So yeah, overall I can say that in the innovation, very important. And one more thing I would like to add into it, that always there is one thing pinch to me, that why the developed country develops something and we copy paste only. And but now I can say the India has a time came, and we have a good prime minister with us, and with very good intention, he's doing the activities what we know that China and India and all. So 130 crores people population we have to invent lots of products and services, and we have to go to the world. Otherwise, you can't give 130 crore people employment and change their life. So when you say asking about the innovation, so I would definitely advise all the students that please work on more into innovation. And I guess 2025 or 2030 will be the India will play a bigger role worldwide. So yeah, innovation is most important, and my company and my team always behind the innovation or behind develop some products, and that's why we have a largest range of the blinds in the world, right? Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Ajay wants to say something.
yeah, Kisla, so regarding the Gunrit curtain, D-Decor is also licensed the same technology.
Fantastic.
We haven't developed the technology. I wouldn't take credit for, because it's part of textile chemistry, which is more of finishing chemical. It's by a Swiss company. So IKEA co-funded the research with a Swiss company called HEIQ, and D-Decor is the only other company in the world that has got the approval from IKEA to share this technology in custom made. IKEA would be selling it in ready made. So the air purifying curtain is a curtain which, if you have the fabric treated with this particular chemical finish through the interaction with light, the chemical is there's a chemical reaction, and you are able to reduce the amount of VOX, which is the pollutants inside every room. All the rooms in the world that we enter, whether offices, hotels, or your own house, have some amount of carcinogenic material, whether which is there inside paints, which is there inside leather in the manufacturing process, and hence, and these rooms are static, and most of these rooms are closed all the time. And if you install these curtains, they are able to remove some of this from the air and make the air more purer or more fresher. Obviously, after the whole coronavirus incident, there's a big emphasis on health. So there's a huge shift from just design and color. And sorry to be saying this to NIF, but I would say that the only message that students should take, and I'll thank Ashokji for saying that, innovation is the right theme rather than design innovation. It's better to have an improvement innovation theme where you can improve your products in all aspects that matter to the consumer. So I just wanted to share that since you brought up the Gunrit curtain.
It's very nice that D-Decor has developed this kind of service. It's good for society. Yeah. Very nice.
So this is fairly recent, and hence you haven't heard probably. We'll be talking about this just as this market normalizes and consumers are back into the regular mode. We'll be talking about this. IKEA just introduced Gunrid into their stores in January of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the latest development. So one more question that I would like to take from the audience right now for Mr. Ajay is that this is a third year student from Bhiwani, a fashion, apparel, and engineering course he's doing from TIS Bhiwani. So he's asking that whether the conventional technology of printing has various adaptations of finishes. Um, so whether digital also offers the same, and he is specifically asking about antimicrobial products.
Yeah, so I'll say that antimicrobial is a finish applied when you are finishing fabrics. So the printing and the antimicrobial are in no way in conflict with one another. They can be applied in conjunction. So you can digitally print a bed sheet like we are doing, and you can then treat it with antimicrobial or antiviral. So we have a range that Decor has already introduced in the market called ViroGuard, and I don't want this to be about decor really, so I'll not not want that this becomes as if we are trying to promote our offerings, but just to create awareness. This is possible that digital printing or conventional printing, you can reach an antimicrobial product by applying a finish, and it's pretty easy. It's usually using some silver in the chemistry, and the
Nitrate, yeah.
silver is the one which is
Well, thank you so much. Next question is for Mr. Vinod. So there is one question from Dr. Binu Kapoor. She would like to ask you, Vinod, that what is the kind of softwares that we can really use for designing, and what are the like how to make most of it, the design softwares? Would you like to share some of the insights on this topic?
So I would say two things. First, we need to understand that most of the world is using Photoshop as a standard product for design for bitmaps, while everybody knows you have Corel and Illustrator for vector illustrations. Okay, so there are textile specific softwares and there are generic graphic softwares. Okay, now creating a file is one, and like Ajay said before, even a two-line stripe would be a design. Okay, not necessarily it is digital as we say, 20 years back. Digital means has to have 16 million colors. But having said that, the key is understanding a software, which I see a huge gap. You see the basic understanding, people don't know what is an 8-bit, what is a 16-bit. People don't know in a RIP what will an 8-bit engine do, what a 16-bit engine do. So the challenge is you need to understand software better. Most softwares have a lot. And while my experience over the 2 decades has been that I've seen so many places where I see people only exploit 30% of the software. I started my life with Photoshop 1. Can you believe it? I mean, I've seen around 20 versions of Photoshop. Okay. So the fundamental is so strong for me to see a file or an issue. It's very easy. I can connect it to where it is coming from. So that has to be strengthened up. There is a gap there. But most softwares, because the base engine, base technology remains the same. So you can't run away from a bitmap. You can't run away from a vector. So more or less 70 to 80% tools will be there. You got to master them to be able to use. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, thank you. The way I look at softwares from as a design professional is hand work is very important to me to create new ideas in textile design, because everybody has a personal style of developing a design idea. And then all these softwares can be a great medium of editing, collaborating, disintegrating, or regenerating.
Yes.
So, so that's my take on softwares, because I
You
am totally in love of what
answered,
human hand can generate
yes, you've
and
just
then
answered.
facilitate with the yeah. So
You just answered a very important question,
yeah.
which Ajay touched on earlier. That at the end of the day, people are looking digital as digital printing. While when you look at utility, now what you asked is a utility. You could use your hand-drawn, design, convert it into digital, and use it. And now it's just a tool which is going to print 4-color hand-drawn print. So
Right.
precisely, yeah, yeah.
Also, there's one question that I would like to ask you. As we see that, yes, digital printing is one of the technologies that's been used for textiles, but there are other technologies as well. For example, 3D printing is there.
Yes, yes.
So do you see any integration of these two technologies in future? Or do you see it happening right now? Is there some connection between these two? Or, I mean,
No. I would
how
say
is it?
I see it as I saw digital printing 20 years back, and then I saw the evolution. I'll be honest, there are tremendous opportunities in 3D, but they have to come to a stage like when we started textile printing, people said, the price is so expensive, it'll never make a business model. Okay.
Right.
There was a stage when the viability came in for industrialists to look at digital printing as a tool. I would say same way, 3D printing has tremendous applications. There's a lot of raw materials that I've studied and seen, and they have applications, and especially taking digital printing, technical textile together. However, by the time it comes to that stage, they need innovation, a lot of money, research, everything. So it has to come to a stage where it becomes a viable industrial product. Until then, we'll have to wait. So I would say still long way to go. But it has potential, no doubt. There is a lot of research, a lot of things that can be done. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Well, we see the potential in future, of course. Also, there are so many other thoughts going on currently, and a lot of people are asking questions. So there is one question which I would like to go back to Mr. Ajay Arora, is that India has a vast resource of diversified printing methods, the traditional ones also. We have a great heritage. Then we have conventional techniques. So, looking at this array of facilities and techniques that we have, how does digital printing impacts the business? Are they there to complement each other, or are they there to like compete with each other? And what values can we really infuse to make digital stand out for the best? For example, sustainability or economic reforms. So from a business, like from not only from a business perspective, but from a social perspective, what are your views on this?
So firstly, I'll say that digital printing is more sustainable than any other printing. Obviously, it does not use any water, and the quantum of water used in this printing is
Correct.
very, very negligible.
Yes.
In my own factory, we've had a very amazing benefit come from the sustainable aspect of digital printing. We are actually located in an industrial area that has been, I would say, mired in a controversy of effluent discharge impacting the environment adversely, and hence the industrial area has been put on a do not give them additional water by the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. Despite this, we have managed to grow our output only by infusing digital printing into the factory. So it's the most sustainable technology out of all. Of course, I'll also mention that sustainability is becoming more and more important to consumers who care. There's always this conflict of who's willing to pay a little bit more for something that does not harm the environment, which harms everybody. Are you someone who is willing to lead by example by paying a little bit more? And then comes the whole piece of, can you print on sustainable textiles? Absolutely. There's organic cotton, which is considered highly sustainable. There's recycled polyester. We are, again, I would say, having experience with both. And the demand in the current year for the word sustainability is higher than any other single word that you can put in, especially from Western consumers. There's a very, very big ask for being sustainable. All brands are wanting to be conscientious, and whether it comes to textile finishing, printing, the fiber itself, and the packaging, all pieces need to align towards a more sustainable, responsible behavior. Talking about the earlier part of the question, where conventional printing versus digital printing, are they in competition with one another? Well, I'll say there's a tremendous amount of pros and cons related to conventional printing. There are a few cons still related to digital printing, few disadvantages, especially related to fastness properties. And since the method of printing is such that there isn't a proper chemical reaction, there is just a superficial imposition of the ink, you can have a slightly lower fastness. But that is a problem that ink suppliers and probably even the machine suppliers are working towards and trying to eliminate. But I'll give a very different experience on conventional printing versus digital printing. My first visit to view digital printing in a factory actually running in an industrial manner was to Europe. And for some reason, we spent the first half of the day inside the machinery manufacturer's factory, and then we were taken to a factory in Switzerland. And by the time we drove and reached Switzerland, it was 8 p.m. in the evening. And I thought that that was really too late, and we were not going to see the factory. This was 2014. The European markets were not really in any boom time, and you wouldn't expect a factory in Europe, in Switzerland, to be working at 8 p.m. But the machinery manufacturer urged the customer to that the visit is delayed, but it was important for him that I had a good experience since he was expecting us to buy machines. And when I went to the factory manager, very renowned factory, was printing a lot for all the top fashion brands in Europe, took me for a tour. And he first took me to a building. The first building that he took me when he showed me the plant was a building where I thought we were going to see digital printing machines. The building had no machines. It only had rotary screens stored. An entire building was wasted just storing screens. I don't think anybody in his list of advantages and disadvantages of conventional printing versus digital printing ever says that you require a building to store the screens of designs that you made. And then he took me to the second building, which had conventional printing machines installed. All of them stopped. And then the third building, which had 8 digital printing machines being run full steam. So digital printing has 7 or 8 absolutely different levels of advantage. And I think it's important, since this seminar is about digital printing, to go into each one of them and then to choose, this whole debate between conventional and digital. I think, you should be engaging in this debate if you were born in 1990. If you are someone who's from NIFT and passing out in 2020, I'd recommend you don't take up a job in conventional printing, because you are going to be cornered by the limitations of the technology. And it has now reached, like Vinod correctly said, a tipping point where even the cost is lower.
Yes.
The true cost of printing digitally now, if it is calculated by the manufacturer and by whoever is, taking the inventory risk, he will swear and tell you that it's lower. We started, in digital printing on bed sheets, we did funny things like we printed one design on the sheet and a different coordinate on the pillow. And we said the conventional printing guy can never do this. He'll go bankrupt printing the pillow. So we started doing funny things like that. But today we can challenge that. We can print cheaper a simple flower with 4 colors on reactive print with better light fastness digitally than the conventional printing person. So I would say that's the second part, is the cost. Even the cost has come down. The speeds have gone up. The machines have become far better and more reliable. So that's the first 2 points. The third piece is the sampling speed, the reaction to markets and their unpredictabilities is obviously unparalleled. The fourth is the accuracy of converting an idea into a sample. What you see is what you get. That's unmatched. The number of steps involved and the amount of investment involved in storage of screens, in buying machines which are required to engrave screens, that again is a problem that you completely eliminate. The next thing is that many designers can become business people by putting digital printing in a garage. If you are a great designer and you said that, listen, all I'm going to do is I'm going to work with this one technology all my life, like Vinod is saying, he focused on digital printing. If a designer hearing this conference said, listen, I don't know about any other technology, I'm not much interested, I'm interested in digital printing. And either you can say I will print digitally woolen sweaters, or you can say I'll print digitally sustainable, flame retardant polyester curtains. You can choose what substrate you want and what end use you want, what kind of design you want, what quantity you want. And the technology's answer is yes, 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 yes. to everything. Why would anybody engage in 2020 with a question of comparing other techniques? Yes, hand printing, heritage textiles, I have respect for that. It brings so many artisans, their livelihood. But in a world which is, becoming more about deals, gratification, personalization, do our consumers really, have a critical mass? Can producers find a critical mass of consumers to justify doing this as livelihood? Is a worry that I have. The last part about digital printing is the whole space efficiency, not only of the whole I would say the storage of the screen aspect, but even the machine. It can fit in a room which is 10 feet by 15 feet, can be run by one person, and is all the time consistent in repeats. So you solve the whole consistency problem. So I can just go on and on and on about digital versus conventional printing. I'll just end by saying I spent 5 years of my life in America telling customers who are buying conventional printing that this is a new thing, it is emerging, it is better, it has this advantage. And the only response was that no, we don't have a need for small quantities. Our market is big and we would like to have larger runs. And I'll fast forward this to telling you that in Italy, Zara is placing all its orders with a company who's doing digital printing with a written condition of 6-hour delivery time. So that is the where the world has moved to. So I would really encourage that if you've had a seminar, you've done a PhD on digital printing, it would be great not to talk about conventional printing anymore. It is literally like going back to hand looms and power looms.
So Ajitji, I want to add something here, which you said is, so I'm a firm believer that rotary prints must be printed on digital printers. And I've been advocating that, and I've been doing that with some of the projects. And we've done that beautifully. We've printed over 1 lakh meters. And I can tell you my client is super happy. So that's possible today. So, this chapter is clear. Second, the very important thing that I have a message for all the others, there's a difference when you hear Ajayji, he took from 0 to 100 all the steps. Now that is somewhere many people miss out. He's understood the technology. He's made sure that everything, because digital printer is not just digital printer. Every pre-auxiliary behind, before, after is crucial. If you don't have a complete setup or you don't focus, even if you're in a garage, you must set your SOP. Where I'm going to get it coated, how I'm going to steam, how I'm going to get the result consistently. And this is a huge lag in the industry. And that's where the dissatisfaction starts coming into play. Correct me, sir, if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely right. And I'll just say one thing for the design people on digital printing. And I think someone asked a question on the software. I would just like to connect digital printing and the software piece. If you are an artist, and I think Professor Kisla said that she likes to use the hand. And if you're an artist and you made a beautiful painting or a print design, and you wanted it replicated, you would not really use any software other than Photoshop. You would, so Photoshop would suffice to convert that into a piece of fabric that looks identical. The whole problem of using all these textile softwares has come from the conventional printing mindset. Yes. The conventional printing mindset is that you take a piece of artwork, you reduce the number of colors to 16 or 32, 16 or 20 colors, because that's what the maximum number of colors that a conventional printing can print. Yes. And in digital printing, you continue with that bad habit, because from the one piece of artwork, you would like to make 2 or 3 colorways. And you would like to use the same artwork to change the color combinations. And that is, according to me, what digital printing is not meant to do. It is meant to replicate your original idea and translate it perfectly. So all of these softwares are actually diluting what is the true capability conversion of digital printing.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah, Because as you discussed about the factory in Europe and the kind of space that is required, a similar experience I would also like to share, that I visited one of the digital printing setups in US, and it was a factory, of course, but to me it looked like more like an art studio, because there was so much of space which could be used efficiently, not only for the machine but for the artistic display of the produce. So yes, combination of everything together. And it's so interesting to know, as everybody had this question in their mind, so interesting to know that the sustainability is absolutely in sync with, in synergy with, and the economic reforms and the space utilization that you spoke about. So it's really great to know all these discussion points. So very useful for us. So next question to Mr. Vinod, that what is the kind of new directions that he sees with digital printing? Where is it going? And what could be the key trends we can expect in future um,
See, that
from the industry?
two folds I see. One already Ajayji addressed. We need to now adapt digital truly. Okay, and that where I emphasize is that instead of looking at digital printing as just a value add for digital, it is a utility. Please use it for rotary prints, short runs, any need, any demand, which is what the client wants, because it's just a tool. It's a dumb machine, garbage in, garbage out. So, this perspective has to fit in. Second, I see a great potential where garment manufacturers have started to look at this as a setup. Home textiles, like what Ajayji has done, they're today garment manufacturers looking at a complete comprehensive setup. They realize the value. So this is one direction very clear. So we have to day by day accept it as a utility more rather than just a digital printing machine. And the second I see is that it will segregate into different segments now, because there'll be a lot of competence that's going to come in. Now the technology is that the third generation has started. I will say 2 decades are gone. Now a third decade I'm seeing, which I believe is going to be third generation. There are a lot of interesting things that I'm privy to. So I believe that what's going to happen is it's going to diversify the market. There's going to be core competence with inkjet printing that companies are going to start adapting. And that's going to be very interesting, which means it will not just have inkjet printing, inkjet dyeing, and technical textile with inkjet printing. And there's going to be a lot more coming from that perspective. It is going to happen for sure.
Well, thank you so much. To Mr. Ashok, I would like to ask him that what is a piece of advice that he would like to give to the creative youth involved with design development? What should they keep in mind for product development, and how should they look at the field of window dressing, blinds, curtains, and I mean, what are the considerations that they should really work on?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to say that in India, I always look about the India and population, and so you have an advantage of the population, you can say, and you have your duty to serve for the country as well. So I advise a few of your students that instead of job seeker, be job giver. Because we need lots of people who give the job. And sometimes the people think that my father has not done the business, or surround there no one is doing the business. So how can I do? But I can say that you will learn every day. So by doing step by step, you can do these things. So first of all, I'll say always that try to be entrepreneur and job creator. Second thing, yes, designer. I can say now, it was before people will think about the clothes they wear, but now simultaneously people are seeing that the home design every day. Now the small one bed apartment, if someone has taken, and then they are giving interior designer. Okay, they give the 10,000 fees to interior designer, but then they want to make the nicely. So they can start their to exactly the furnishing interior designer kind of things, not required that entire interior designer. So they can design, as I said before, that pillow, the bed sheets, the curtain, blinds, and then they provide. And the raw material, this kind of raw material is available at so many places. So something they take from here, something that they take from there, and that's why with this way they can start business as well. And yes, I would like to add one more thing, that your design will print within a 3-4 days, and it can be installed in anybody home or office within 15 days. So you'll proud for it that yes, I did the good things, and result will become to you 15 days. So I'll advise that your students that please look into this technology of digital printing and the furnishing things.
Well, thank you so much. So I would request now Mr. Ajay also to share his views that what students should really look at, as he said that we should look at the functional value for product design. So not only new design development, but we should also concentrate on product functional design in enhancing the product value. So what is a message that you would like to give to our students regarding this?
So, Kislaya, I'd like to start by saying that, everything that I have got in my life, I got from my education. My 4 years of studying textiles has been my biggest asset in my journey of making choices and decisions. So I want to tell the students that they're very fortunate that they have a NIFT education. We have hired many, many people from NIFT. They continue to be very strong, parts of the reason why DDecor is successful. I'd say that, to the students, that first thing I would request them is choose your job well as you step out of NIFT. You should be giving emphasis to exposure. Please work in companies which are creative and innovative. Don't join any company based on a salary. Please look at where is the opportunity to get exposure to innovation, and especially with design, because that is your chosen field. For those who are thinking of studying ahead, please consider to blend your study of design with the study of management, and how design and management can lead to, building an organization, a career for yourself, which is more fulfilling, more profitable, more impactful. There is a blend now between design and business called design thinking. And I would, recommend that design thinking is being encouraged as the most useful study to solve any problem for any company, any organization, any society. I would like to tell students that a lot of people nowadays refuse to pay for design, because design, they believe, is available on Pinterest. Design is available on Instagram. These are the ideas which you should stay a million miles away from. Design is what separates commodity from something special. And the emphasis on good design is going to make sure that your success is guaranteed. Do less, but make sure that what you're doing stands out. Creativity is not only about design, it's about doing something better, finding better solutions. Always have a creative approach towards every task, every process, every customer problem that's given to you. And lastly, I'll borrow from Ashokji. I'm very, impressed by what he said. Ensure that you finally end up working for yourself, that you become a brand, and you may require in your journey, in the first part of your career, to leverage brands to become a brand. But in an oversupplied world, it's hard to do that on your own. So you can leverage some brands, you can work for some good names, and that will show up on your resume, and finally it will give you the exposure and the knowledge. But I would encourage you to end up working for yourself, because you've learned the field of design. and design can be monetized in many areas. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I would request Mr. Vinod also to please give your message for the students.
My message would be like the way I discovered digital printing was when I saw a problem. And earlier we all said necessity is mother of invention. In modern world, for every solution is coming from a problem. Look for all the problems, you have all the solutions and ideas to come up with. And when you have free time or when you have a COVID situation, you have more time to think. And that's the time when you can actually look at all the problems and keep discovering that's possible. I think if all students look from this perspective, they'll find a space where there is enormous ideas that will come up, and they need to be in this space at this point. I think industry will bounce back. We humans are always capable of bouncing back. It's a matter of time. Everybody's started off, everybody's working, the world economy is working. So that fear and concern that they don't have a future should be put to rest. Rather than that, they have to just be patient and consider what they can think in terms of the problems are there, how they can contribute, what can make a difference. And I'm sure many of them will rise up and rest, they will be able to come back.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all wonderful speakers today. I wish I could take more questions from people, but now we are coming to an end of this session today with this discussion. We took a lot of concepts with us today. So innovation is not only about a design development from scratch, but also innovation can be looked at from different perspectives when there is an existing product and it can be combined with some function that is critical to human value in today's scenario. Innovation can be looked at from that perspective also. Also, Mr. Ajay, Mr. Ashok, and Mr. Vinod really spoke multi-dimensional aspects about not only about the printing, but also about the core value of design, the sustainable systems, and industrial promises. So I think that's really, really good insights that we have got today. So I hope I have taken all of your questions, and in case anything is missing, we will definitely cover that in the next webinar. So with an amazing discussion, now we come to a closing note for today. Although I believe that the dialogue and creative inspiration is going to stay with us forever to enthuse novel ideas, innovation, and synergy between creativity, production, sustainability, and economic reforms. On behalf of NIFT Mumbai Department of Textile Design, I'm so thankful to all our wonderful and glorious speakers today. I'm really thankful to them for taking out time from their super busy schedules and talking to us and answering all queries that the fraternity of design students and people had. On behalf of Department of Textile Design, NIFT Mumbai, I would like to thank our director, Professor Dr. Pawan Godiawala, for his encouragement and support. And definitely to our speakers again for their meaningful perspective and a valuable interaction today. Special thanks to the technical expert, Mr. Nitin Salve, who has been the key supporter of this event through all the technical support that is provided and designed the entire webinar. Most importantly, my fellow colleagues, my department, the young students, and the wonderful audience from India and globe. Thank you for joining us today. This is Kisle Chaudhary, and I'm signing off. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kislia. Thank you, Ajay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.